how is Robinson weathering the storm? CNN's Diane Gallagher is down in the Tar Heel state with this new reporting.
The fallout from CNN's bombshell report about Mark Robinson spilling over into his second day.
I am running for governor.
The GOP nominee for North Carolina's governor moving forward with his campaign after the deadline passed for him to withdraw, as absentee ballots are sent out to voters Friday. The fresh swirl of controversy follows a K-File investigation that found Robinson made a series of inflammatory comments on a pornographic website's message board more than a decade ago, referring to himself as a black Nazi and expressing support for reinstating slavery, among other salacious, lewd, and gratuitous statements.
Thank you so much for
Robinson categorically denying the allegations.
Dude, this is not us. These are not our words, and this is not anything that is characteristic of me.
The controversy extending beyond the Tar Heel state's race for governor, with Robinson having received the endorsement of former President Donald Trump, who has repeatedly praised the conservative firebrand.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids, okay?
The campaign of Vice President Kamala Harris highlighting the ties between Trump and Robinson in a new ad Friday.
We could pass a bill saying you can't have an abortion in North Carolina for any reason. The abortion in this country, it's about killing a child because you aren't responsible enough to keep your skirt down.
I've been with him a lot. I've gotten to know him, and he's outstanding.
The former president is set to hold a rally in the state on Saturday. Sources tell CNN that Robinson has not been invited to the event, despite being a regular presence at Trump's events in the state, including 2 last month. Now, some Trump allies are dismissing the potential impact on the former president's campaign.
We're going to be fine in North Carolina. This issue is going to come and go, but the reality of what's happened in our country remains, and that's why Donald Trump's going to win the state of North Carolina.
As Democrats in North Carolina seek to turn Robinson's controversy into a challenge for other Republicans.
I think that when people go to the polls, they need to think about these candidates who have supported and encouraged somebody like Mark Robinson and continue to do so.
Even some Republicans acknowledging the fallout could affect others on the ballot in November.
Well, I think any bad news of a particular candidate in a personal life can have a deleterious effect on other candidates.
And we are seeing Democrats take advantage of that today throughout North Carolina. Jake, every single Democrat who is running for a statewide office has found a way to either post a picture or highlight an endorsement of Robinson by their Republican opponent. And they tell me we will continue seeing that for the days ahead, likely through November.
All right, Diane Gallagher, who is in North Carolina for us, thank you so much. CNN senior data reporter Harry Enten joins us now. Harry, I understand you have some interesting data for us since the scandal broke yesterday here on The Lead, brought to us by our friend K-File.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Tapper. My goodness gracious, what a story. And it turns out there are a lot of stories people talk about, and then they really fall flat. People aren't interested in them. This is a story people are really interested in. Google searches for Mark Robinson since that K-File story broke yesterday versus the prior 24 hours. Nationally, searches for Mark Robinson up 8,540%. My goodness gracious. How about in the great state of North Carolina? Up by more than 4,000%, despite the fact that they were Googling him plenty before. The bottom line is a lot of interest in this story.
Break down the state of politics right now in the great state of North Carolina. How could this single scandal impact not just the gubernatorial race, but perhaps even the presidential race there?
Yeah, you know, if you look at where the polls were heading into this, right, in the presidential race, my goodness gracious, how tight it was. It was tied. I think it was like 0.2 percentage points if you didn't round it. But the bottom line is tied between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. In the governor's race, look, the Democrat Josh Stein was well ahead of Mark Robinson, up by 10 points. I think he's going to be leading by even more after this particular thing. It's the real question of how much this may impact the presidential race. And how important is the great state of North Carolina when it comes to the presidential race? Look at this. The chance of winning the election, if they win in North Carolina, it's very important. If Kamala Harris wins in North Carolina, look at that. Her chance of winning up to 95%. Donald Trump, even if he wins there, it's just 76%. But that actually says that this state is much more of a must-win for Donald Trump than it is for Kamala Harris. And that's why this scandal could be so devastating to his chances in what is really a must-win state for him.
So my mom's from North Carolina. I am steeped in North Carolina politics, and I have to say it has long been a very tricky state, very tough for Democrats. On the presidential level, only winning it once in 44 years. Barack Obama in 2008, I mean, that election, Obama even won Indiana.
Yeah. I mean, look, you look at this, it's like Lucy with the football, right? Charlie Brown, Lucy. They come so close, Democrats. Obama won it by 0.3, Romney by 2, Trump by 1. Last time around, Joe Biden came so close. The gubernatorial races are a much different ballgame because the bottom line is just 2 Republicans have won the state since 1980. You see a lot of blue on your screen. Only Pat McCrory was able to win it back in 2012. The bottom line is Roy Cooper by 5, Roy Cooper by 0.2. Democrats are going to win, and Josh Stein's probably going to be one of those Democrats, Jake.
All right, Harry Ensign, thanks so much. Trump was boosting Robinson in the primary against more mainstream Republicans.
He's been an unbelievable Lieutenant Governor, Mark Robinson. I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2.
Now Kamala Harris is capitalizing on that close relationship.
I've been with him a lot. I've gotten to know him, and he's outstanding.
Donald Trump and Mark Robinson. They're both wrong for North Carolina.
Let's bring in the panel. Daniela, let me ask you, first of all, we should note, it's not as if before yesterday Lieutenant Governor Robinson was uncontroversial. He was pretty controversial to begin with. But do you think that this actually will have an effect on the presidential race in North Carolina?
Absolutely, I think it could. And that ad that the Harris people put out is spot on. Trump has been hugging Mark Robinson for weeks, and he's been saying outlandish and crazy things for years. And, as has been happening over the past couple of years, Trump is always pushing for the most extreme, the most MAGA, the most loyal person to be the Republican nominee. And I do think there's a chance that Mark Robinson at the top of that gubernatorial ticket will hurt Donald Trump.
I read an essay today, Mike, I think it was in Bulwark, about how ultimately, look, Republican voters in North Carolina picked Mark Robinson over very conservative, more mainstream.
Center of the road, mainstream.
Mark Walker, Congressman Mark Walker, is a very conservative Republican. Right. But he's just not saying crazy. He's not calling himself Black Hitler for any number of reasons, I imagine.
And where he's saying Black Hitler.
Right. Or posting it. Right.
Yes.
Exactly. Do you think that, and the hope in this Bulwark essay was that maybe this will shake people awake, like you have to stop going with the most extreme. What do you think?
I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
And here's why I don't think that's going to happen. We have such a small number of individuals that participate in our partisan primaries now that there's a reason why he became the nominee. And he had the support of Donald Trump during a period of time where Trump was lapping the field in his own primary. I think the bigger question here is whether or not it is going to affect. I think you're right. I think it is going to affect. I don't know that it's a game changer because North Carolina is the state that Democrat dollars go to die. Right. Every year, every presidential year especially, Democrats think that they can take North Carolina. And it's happened, once in the last 40? Is that what the
44,
number was?
Yep.
So I don't know that it's going to be as crucial, but what I do know, it's going to open it up. And the Democrats are definitely going to win it. But it is going to force now Republicans in the Trump campaign to pay more attention in North Carolina than they would have.